you started at an extremely young age. How old are you when you first started performing music?
So I actually, the first time that I remember performing, I was around 14, actually.
Damn,
Yeah. Yep.
not many people can say that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was quite the experience
Yeah,
being so young around everyone being so much older. It was really intimidating for
I
sure.
bet. What was the venue that you performed at?
So it was actually the Westcott Theater. I live
Okay.
about like 12 minutes away from it. So yeah,
That's
really
kind of
close to
that's
home.
kind of still your home base too, huh? You're kind of whenever you play there, there's usually a
Yep.
strong hometown crowd. That's dope.
Yep. Oh
That's
yeah.
super dope. Since then, you've gone on to open for guys like Right 10, Blunts and Blondes, Midnight Tea. Out of all those shows, what do you think was the most memorable for you? Actually, let's just rephrase that. Out of the entire time you've been playing, what was the most memorable for you?
Um, well, that's definitely a good question. I definitely think it depends. I've had a lot of shows in my life where I think I can look back and say that was like the most memorable.
Right.
Like, when it comes to like the Westcott, there was a couple with it. It was like when I opened up for Rusco, that was
Oh
a
yeah.
really big one. That was probably one of the most packed. But like one of the most packed I played for was let's see. And at Concord Music Hall,
Oh
like
yeah.
that was I played in front of 1,200 people.
That's a huge crowd.
Yeah, no, it was definitely like a kind of an eye-opening experience to be like, okay, this is definitely, because I've never really experienced a crowd like that, so it was
Right.
definitely something that I was like, okay, I need to get used to a feeling like this, because a difference between 400 people and 1,200 people, it's like
Massive.
holy shit.
Yeah.
So I definitely say those two were like one of the most
Sweet.
or even like playing at Bay Station, these
Mm-hmm.
crowds. Like I've noticed a couple of crowds. I played in Miami and Denver, a couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, and like these crowds, like Miami, Chicago, and Denver, even Baltimore, I played. These crowds were so interactive and just so lively. Like a lot of shows I've played, have lively crowds, but those
Right.
definitely I've noticed the most
Sweet.
so far.
Yeah, I mean, even being in the crowd for places like that, it's still like, holy crap, there's a lot of people here.
Oh yeah,
I
no,
can
for
only
sure.
imagine being an artist up on stage. What originally encouraged you to get into music at such a young age? Because like a lot of people, I didn't even think. I mean, I was a fan of the music back then, but I didn't really think about like taking that as like a career path until I was an adult and actually had that moment of where you have to actually decide what you want to do. But you started at such a young age. What really got the ball rolling for you at that age?
I know this one's very, very, very original, but it's Skrillex, of course.
Okay, yeah.
Of course. I remember my brother, actually, we were on a car ride and, he just showed me one of his songs and I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, I grew up listening to a lot of metal, like Bullet for My Valentine, Bring Me the Horizon. And I was like, I don't know. It just gave me the same feeling as these songs did. And it's like, it was just like such a just new and just amazing sound. Like I didn't understand it at the time.
Well, there's a reason why so many people have that answer.
Yeah. No, Skrillex is just, I can't even like.
Were you listening to EDM, other EDM before that? Or was that kind of like the first artist?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Got you. Yeah.
Very first. Yeah. Very first. And it was like, I don't know, just the shit that he made, especially with his, All Is Fair and Love and Bro Stuff album was
fire.
Yeah. No, that was pretty much just. I mean, through time, other artists kind of became influential, but Skrillex was definitely the beginner.
Sweet. Yeah. What city are you actually from? Because I know you're on the East Coast.
I'm from New York. Like I'm around Syracuse.
Gotcha. So once you heard that, what was like your first step, and like what was the next step after you heard Skrillex and stuff like that? When did you go to your first show? When was like,
so
what was the scene like growing up for you there?
Okay, so actually the first show I ever went to was a Skrillex show.
Okay.
And it was he went to this place called the F Shed, and I don't think they don't do stuff anymore, but it was crazy. Like this place was packed. Especially for Syracuse, Syracuse really isn't the best when it comes to like the scene. Like I think that it's here, but just not compared to places that I've been. It is not comparable. Like I think it's very like specific. Like if a big artist comes in, then it'll be packed. But if it's like, you know, some
it's pretty big.
it depends.
Yeah. How big is a venue?
It's like a 750
cool
person capacity. So
that was probably early on then when Skrillex was like first kind of starting that.
The F shed. Are we talking? Sorry.
Yeah,
the F shed of the West. So that's probably like 1,000 to 2,000, 3,000.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Okay, yeah. No. So that is definitely a much larger venue. It's crazy. It's actually meant to be like a farmer's marketplace, you know.
Oh wow.
But no, he packed it. That's for sure.
So other than that first show, what was kind of the scene like when you were first getting into it? Was it pretty popular like scene, or was it just kind of like you and a couple other people that were kind of pioneering it at the time?
So like in my area, you know, I came into it kind of like blindly, you know. I think that I was so young to where it was like I wasn't really understanding of like what I'm about to get into.
Oh yeah.
So like I walked in, you know, there's all, again, like I said, there was all these adults doing their thing, looking at me like, who the fuck is this? Like, who is this kid? You know, I think that, you know, a lot of the beginning shows that I played were probably they were so dead, and it was like, you know, it was obviously, you know, so much a 14-year-old could do. Like I couldn't really pull any ticket sales, you know. It wasn't that it was like, you know, 14-year-old DJ, but it's like, you know, I wasn't really that good. So I was like, I wasn't able to, you know, pull that much you know, hype around it. So I would say the scene was, you know, when I opened up for people, it was good, but like for myself, it wasn't the, you know.
Were there any legal issues that you had to face during that time? Because like, was it an all-age club or was it like a? I
usually I didn't face anything that was
okay. Cool, that's good.
I think, I mean, like nothing I could think of now.
Okay, so I know like I mean, you may or may not be into, you know, drinking and stuff like that, but I know Hesh started at a very young age too, as we most of us know. But he played a show before he was 21. I think he's 22 now. But he played a show out here in San Francisco a few years ago, and he was backstage, and they were giving him all, like, the security just give him all kind of shit for like being. And he's like, "Dude, I'm the headliner. What are you talking about?"
Yeah, literally. Yeah, no, I actually have recently gotten into contact with Hesh, and he's super, super, super nice guy. And for me personally, I actually just, you know, try to keep it clean and sober, just a personal choice, because I just feel like
that's smart.
For me, you know, other people can handle themselves the way they need to, but I feel like for me, it's like I want to be as focused as I possibly can. You know, I don't want something. I don't need something to play. I would just rather just be me, I guess. I don't know. But then again,
you're there being the artist too. Like I'm sure obviously you go to other shows for being a fan, but because you started at such a young age being an artist, I feel like your main priority and your main focus is like, I'm here to work. This is like, I'm here to take this seriously. And for other people who get into it for, you know, the party reasons, which that's how I got into it, and it kind of slowly formed into what it is now. But for those people, it's like, it's easier for them to like, I started out, this initially attracted me because of the party side of it. And I guess it's just, you got into it slightly differently. So that's interesting. Very interesting. One thing that I thought was interesting too is the fact that you have not always gone by Emorfik. You started under a different alias guy.
Yes.
Kind of dive into that a little bit.
Of course.
What was that, and like why did that change?
Okay, so actually a lot of people don't know this, and you know, this is a little bit way far back then, but I actually, the first name was Zag, Zagg.
Okay.
That was my first ever name that I originally thought of. And it was funny because, you know, I was like, oh shit, this name is pretty hype. You know, I would go on the internet and make stupid ass, like, you know, cover arts with my name on it. And it was like, that was the first name I went under. And then I found out that was a phone repair company. So I was like, okay, that's off the list. Let's take this out. And then the second one was actually named Akai. So my name is Damiano. I'm Hawaiian, and I was actually on the way back from the mall with my father, and we were thinking of a name. So I was like, okay, well, let's incorporate my name with, me being Hawaiian, be kind of cool. Like it's something that maybe a certain amount of people can connect with. So I was like, okay, we could take Damiano, and a word in Hawaiian is kai. I believe it means ocean, if I'm not correct, if I am correct.
Okay.
So we were like, okay, Damiano, D-A, Kai, Dekai. So I was like, oh shit, this is pretty hype. And I actually went by that name for a few years, which was really, really great. And, I grew really close to it. And
yeah. What changed into, like, what caused you to change into Amorphic then?
So I really wanted to take my name to the next step, and I wanted to actually copyright it. And well, there's actually another DJ out there named Dekai, Dekai. So, and he has it copyrighted. So it was like, oh shit, like, it just didn't work out. Yeah. And now it's like, I was sitting there, I'm like, I always kind of like, towards when I had, even before this happened, I was like, I don't know if this is my name. It's like, I love it, but it just didn't resonate with me enough. But when I lost, I technically, when I say lost it, whatever, that's me, man, kind of overhyping it, but it just felt like everything I associated with this name, it kind of like,
well, you just couldn't be that anymore.
It just felt, it was sad. And I was like, oh shit, like I feel like fuck, like I did all this for nothing. But like, obviously it's not that serious, but I wanted to change it. And Emorfik is if you're of course willing to hear the story,
that's why we're here.
Of course. And before we get into it, now I have Emorfik copyrighted, so it's like, this is how I know this name is like, this is the name.
Yeah.
So when we were starting to look for names, it was actually a pretty like, I didn't think it was this hard. It was because I was always looking for a name that was more unique than, unique itself. You want something, in my opinion, I feel like when a DJ is looking for a name, they should look for, like, think of it, could this be a headliner name? That's what I think of. Like,
how's this gonna look good on a festival flyer?
Exactly.
That's
like,
good move. That's a good.
I'm not gonna shit on anyone who watches this who has any DJ names, but like, think about it, like DJ turn up the party, like it's like that. It's not shit. Maybe you prove me wrong, but
that's hard to brand around.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Even having the word DJ in it, it's like, I understand a lot of people do that for, their Instagram handles, which is fine. But like, if your name is that, it's like, I don't know. It puts you in a box. It puts you with a lot of people. Like, but when making my name, it was such a long process. We had literally just postcards after postcards. My mom, being a very, very, involved person with my career, she helped me a crap ton, and I'm so thankful for that. And, originally we were going for like, words with like vicious incorporated. I like that word. That's a really cool word to me. I actually named a song after it recently, Vicious Tendencies. I like that word.
Banger, by the way, I've heard it.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. We had so many ideas with that word, and then just none of them actually just really resonated with me. And I remember the exact conversation we had the night we made this name. We were thinking about, I was reflecting on how I feel. I was really sad because, this name was so hard it brought me a lot of stress, because I feel like I was almost rushed and just kind of like lost at the same time, if that makes sense.
No, yeah, totally.
Because it's like, I was 17 years old, I believe at the time. 17. And, you want to like get shit done. You want, because this is where I'm starting to realize how, time is starting to speed up. I'm 20 now. And it's like, I wish at the time I was 17, I wish I'd worked so much harder. I wish I did shit I was doing now back then, because I would be in such a different place, but you can't do that. But
no, you can't. And I think you've done an exceptional job, especially.
I appreciate that.
I know this industry, everyone says all the time, you shouldn't compare yourself to others, but if we're going to take a second and compare you to other people in the industry, being your age and having the following that you do and the engagement that you do, and just like everything you're doing, man, I respect so much. So that's why I wanted to have you on the show. So,
dude, yeah, no, I seriously,
you've done a great job.
Yeah, I think that sometimes like I kind of struggle with not being able to see the clear picture, because it's like, you know, I as a individual kind of look past a lot of certain things, which is kind of a, you know, problem that I unfortunately carry. You know, I think that, you know, when this first kind of like like the blow up started to happen, it was so overwhelming at the time, to where it's like, now that it's happened and it's not necessarily plateaued, but not what it was, I guess, during that time, but it was just so fast and so crazy, where it was like 13-year-old me would be like, what is fucking happening right now? Like,
how long ago was that? Because I didn't really find out who you were until more recently. When was that blow up?
This actually happened around like January, February.
Okay.
Because like all of a sudden, you know, you just start posting TikTok. Like, you know, everyone shit talks TikTok, but that's how it happens. Yeah, no, I wanted, you know, my manager was like, yo, you got to try out TikTok and Reels. And I'm like, you know what? Whatever, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Two videos a day for a month straight, 30,000 followers. And it's like, it happened like that. You know, a lot of people accused me of buying things and buying followers, all this crap, and it's like, yo, try it yourself and maybe it'll happen. Like, a lot of people had something negative to say, and it's like, I understand. And, you know, I think that's another thing that like a lot of you know, producers can, you know, unfortunately focus on, is some random comment that, you know, someone doesn't think twice of before they say of. And it's like,
dude,
that's unfortunate.
It's hard to get past. We'll talk about that in a second. I wanted to talk about one other thing, but that is a huge topic that I do want to get into. I wanted to go back to you saying that your mom was like a huge part of your project, and obviously she's always supporting. I looked through your Instagram; she's always supporting you. She's always helping you, bringing you shows and shit.
Yeah.
What has in specific? What is kind of her role? I mean, obviously it's your mom, but what does she do in specific to help the Amorphic project for you?
Yeah. So did you want me to go ring back to the name real quick before we?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So actually real quick, and then I could tell you, she is like literally she's like my second manager. We were talking that night about the name, and I was like, okay, we're thinking about the position I'm in. I feel very lost, depressed, whatever. We're thinking, okay, what's something that, you know, I'm trying to evolve, right? Like, I'm trying to evolve to the next step. You know, I'm trying to keep this like as less cringy as possible, by the way, but this is how I explain it. But I was trying to move on to the next step. You know, I'm a 17-year-old trying to become a professional DJ. You know, I'm trying to evolve. That's the E. MOR is morph, short for morph.
Yep.
And then F is the future. So Emorf, and then the IK is the best sounding ending. It's Emorfik. So it's basically like a transition from shitty to.
That's dope. I like it.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So, I think that, like, you know, this name is something that I can't get enough of. I actually hated it at first. I was like, I don't know about that, but I remember the exact moment it came out of my mouth. I looked at my mom and she looked at me. She's like, that's the fucking name. And I'm like, I have never been more happy with a name in my entire life. So.
Because I know like the music they produce, it's very aggressive. It's very hard.
Yes.
I love your music.
Thank you very much.
I saw that you do have like a sub kind of, or part of your branding is the angry shit only.
Yep.
What can you explain that a little bit?
Absolutely. So I always, as a kid, I kind of just do like, you know, just randomly work. Like, I remember seeing Skrillex, he put in his bio, currently working on music. And then I made ones called currently chilling, like just some stupid shit, like put that in my bio, just some random combination of words.
Like the license plate. It's like, I'd rather
literally
or whatever.
literally. And I remember that I was just sitting there one day. I'm like, yo, angry shit. I actually, it's kind of sad because I don't remember how I necessarily thought of it, but I think I was just sitting there one day and I was like, okay, like, you know, I'm trying to make this some kind of music right now. And I'm just like, yo, like angry shit only. And it's like, It's so funny because I used to think of that term as just a just whatever. It was just a phrase, like,
Yeah,
and it was like,
I think it
no,
really encapsulates your brand though.
and
Yeah.
it is something like, because it literally gives me butterflies thinking, because like to hear people scream that is something that I can't even like comprehend. It's because I've heard, I remember at base station one of the times I've played, these people screamed it so loud, and it's like I can't even, it was like deafening. And I think that as of right now, it's obviously a phrase, nothing more.
Yeah.
But I want to take it to the next step, because I really look at, like I say, like sudden death, he has the
Yeah.
obviously he's a DJ, but he has such a sense of branding and just technique behind, like I can't even describe it, because he's so good with it.
Yeah,
literally. And it's like, I would
even
like
just
to take,
even just putting his album, like his Void 2, he put all
yeah,
of his whole album is acts. That's so smart. No one does that.
exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like, I would love to take that route, because everyone always says, who are you inspired by? I just say sudden death, because it's not even because it's music. I think his music is sick. I don't personally, well, I think that his music is great, but the reason why I'm inspired by him the most is because the branding that he thinks and does, with the floating, the deer skull, all of that shit. And it's like, I think that with Angry Shit Only, I want to take just a next step with
making that more of a cohesive part of your brand.
Absolutely. Because I there's so much to do. There's literally endless possibilities, like the theatrical, the theatrical side of things, like with Void, you can do that, merch, all that. It's endless possibility.
So let's go back to now your mom, because I float into that. So you said she's kind of like your second manager in a way.
Yes.
So what is her like main responsibilities as far as like the Amorphic project goes?
Being a kid, I think when I was younger, I think she was more of like someone to look after me, because I was like, I think a lot of this I went in being very, very blindly, because I didn't understand the amount of negativity, unfortunately, that revolves around this industry, because I know a lot of younger producers that I see, like myself, like when 14, 15 years old, and it's like I feel like sometimes, even if you're going to this brand, you need to have someone, even if it's your mom, brother, sister. And my mom was someone who just would, I hate to sound like that, drive me, make sure I'm safe, make sure, fly with me.
Especially at your freaking age when you started, of course.
No, you don't want a 14-year-old going to a dubstep show by himself. Definitely not.
Sure.
She came out to my first fly out show. She has always supported, commenting, sharing, liking, just supporting, helping.
What's her background? Has she just been a stay-at-home mom for most of your life?
No, so she's
what's her background?
So she's a nurse. She used to be a nurse. She worked at a hospital near my house, but now she has switched over to being a travel nurse. And she, it's unfortunate because you don't see her as much, but it's like she's doing her thing, and
still supporting you. And now that you're at an adult age and you can travel by yourself, it's like,
no, for sure. It is sad for sure, but it's like she even wants to, like, one day quit her job and become like a tour manager for me. That's it's like I wouldn't have any problem with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Backstage, taking pictures for you. And
and that's another thing. Just the videographer, like, just like I could go on. The list is,
that's so cool.
It's a blessing,
and that I'm sure has been a massive aid to you in creating your project and keeping up the hustle, keeping up, and just the growth of everything.
Yes.
Having that support system behind you is so important.
It's like sometimes, I think, like, you look past certain people that are just there the whole step of the way, and it's like now, hearing it, it's like I could tell you so many things that she has done.
That's awesome.
Sometimes, like, she would help pay for something when I was a little kid and I couldn't pay for it, and it's like you know, she's helped me fund so much, and it's like
that's another
so blessing.
I was just talking about this the last episode, actually, last week, of just like the money and like the investment and like investing in your project. Like I'm sure that's helped as well too. Your mom, like being able to, like, you at 14, you don't have a job. Like
yes. No. I think that, you know, a lot of times it's like, you know, I think that's why a lot of people, you know, unfortunately have to get you know, 9 to 5 or whatever. It's like, it's very hard. And it's like she believes in me, and I'm trying so hard to do this full time.
And you work your ass off too. It's not just like she's like, here's money and go have fun. It's like, actually grinding. Yeah.
Because what the greatest part about all of this is that I have now been able to pretty much, you know, support myself to, you know, not ask for money every day. I don't need money. I make my own money. It feels great. Dope. And it's like, you know, I can't describe how, like, you know, the transition of, like, you know, asking, hey, can I have $40 to go out to dinner? And now it's like I could pay for it's like a good feeling. Like I have a shoe collection. I'm like, oh shit. Sick. Like, you know, maybe I don't like spending money personally, but hey, it's like, you know what? It feels good to, like, you know, finally kind of like break off. But then again, it's like some things I still have help with, you know. I'm a 20-year-old. I try to put it in a certain perspective, you know.
No, yeah. Like, and shit, I even get help. I even get help
exactly. And, you know, and it doesn't matter. And that's, age is just literally, I think that, you know, some people who, you know, connect age with success, like, oh, you have to be, you know, whatever.
Yep.
I think that some people just
look at all the freaking childhood actors and stuff. Like, why can't you be a touring musician at that age?
Exactly.
Along with the support system, though, which is freaking awesome. Something that you brought up too is that you've also, I'm sure everyone has, I even have experienced a lot of hatred and a lot of challenging times. I want to talk about that too.
Absolutely.
What do you think? Like, do you think that was the hardest part of, like, starting a project at such a young age? It's just people not, like, absolutely. I feel like a lot of people around you, like, they see you at a young age, and it's like you said in the past, where, like, you didn't see, like, some of the negativity that went on and stuff. And a lot of people, I feel like, who are older in the industry, kind of look at, like, a kid, like a younger kid or whatever. Even like Martin Garrix, he started super young too.
Yep.
Look at those people, and they're like, they even have what it takes at that age to survive the industry and, like, put in the amount of work. And obviously, you've proven yourself to do that. But how have you gone about battling that and proving yourself?
I think if we just start right at the beginning, so, okay. I think that, you know, being a kid, you know, if there's any kids watching this, like, there's going to be a lot of people that hate you, and it's okay, because a lot of times it's jealousy. But for my case, you know, I would be walking up to the Westcott, plopping my fucking DDJ on top of the CDJs like an asshole, like, you know, ruining it for everyone else. And it's like, you know, my computer was slow, all this. And it's like, everyone just thought I was just, you know, unprofessional. And, you know, it's like, whatever, you know, unfortunately, I grew up a lot, you know, I was that kid who definitely was weirder necessarily. Like, not, I wasn't weird, but, like, I wore the clothes to, like, oh, like, ooh. the zip up hoodie kid, like the fucking, you know, like the face hoodie. Those are in style now. So, like, what the fuck? You know, I think a lot of people, you know, especially in school, you know, I was a DJ, and people would do like mock me and shit. Like, I was just very different. You know, no one listened to the music I listened to.
And back then, it wasn't a popular thing like it is now.
Oh, no. I will say, though, a lot of kids who used to act like that definitely want to try it out now, and it's like, it's funny. I will say that. You know,
can you help me? You were mean to me. No,
literally, no. I'm trying to think what else I kind of experienced, because more of the hate is starting now.
Not
rather
actual audience.
I don't know, just being a kid, I think that a lot of people just think of you as like a little brother, like they kind of like, but like just try to like passive aggressively like just make fun of you, like like, come here, buddy, like let me like, you know, I don't know, it's hard because it's like, you know, a lot, especially promoters, like I feel like promoters will see that and be like, oh, I could, you know, don't have to pay this kid, like whatever. Like I don't
Yeah.
need to, especially when the CDJs came into
Like,
play.
he's
Like
14, he doesn't need money. Like, what?
literally,
Get the same amount
especially
of work as everyone else.
yeah, no, especially when like the CDJs came into play, a lot of people
Yeah.
thought like, oh, I could definitely milk this.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I just think like being a kid, like, I think that a lot of people would just kind of like, I don't know, just harp on you for being a kid. It's like,
Right.
I just think that like now I see so many kids doing it, and it's like it's great because
Well, yeah, especially going back to TikTok too. You see kids all the time on TikTok, like
oh yeah,
young kids. It's like, holy shit, how do these
and,
people?
it's great because the mentality of it has changed, and it's like I don't think that people are out to hate kids. I just think it's like a more of like a local thing where people just kind of like
right.
it's like the other DJs. I feel like a lot of DJs, I don't know.
Well, yeah, you put yourself in the position of like say you're a 25-year-old and you've been doing this, for a while, and you're like trying to like earn your stripes or whatever, and like then you see this young kid who's like killing it and getting bookings
Exactly.
over you.
Yeah. Like, oh yeah. Yeah. No.
Like,
yeah. I definitely look at like jealousy differently now. It's like it's okay to be jealous. Everyone at one point in their life is definitely going to be jealous. I've been jealous. But I think when you
jealousy can almost be a good thing too, because it can
exactly
be a motivator.
Exactly. Yeah. But I feel like a lot of people use their jealousy just to just make themselves feel like shit, and then just try to shit on other people because they are so insecure about it. It's like, because I know what it feels like to be on either side, of being jealous and someone being jealous, and it's like I don't like either for sure. But I think that jealousy is something that is some like it's just it's needed, but it depends on the person and how you use it. Because like you said, you either can be inspired or it can
tear you apart.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But
how have you gone about specifically, like, can you give me a specific time where, like, you don't have to name names or anything, but like give me a specific time of like someone in specific that was really like showing you hate? Like, how did you like deal with them? Did you just ignore them, or like?
So I've actually I got one right here. I've recently a couple of people have accused me of botting my accounts. The growth rate, I get it. And you know what? Whatever. It's something that hurt my feelings a lot. I thought that maybe it's true because it was happening at such an accelerated rate, and it was like literally 10,000 followers in a month. That is nothing I've ever heard of.
Yeah.
I have screenshots of the statistics, and it was pretty big numbers, and it was something that happened, and I didn't pay for. I know I'm not trying to convince everyone. Like, no, obviously I didn't pay anyone, but it hurt my feelings because it was like I thought that people just or everything I've been doing for this past month was for nothing, and my manager, and especially my mom, my girlfriend, they really just kind of like give me the extra kick in the butt I need to like grow up. Like, people are gonna say this shit. Mm-hmm. And especially, going back to jealousy, a lot of people say shit when they're jealous or they're mad at you or whatever it may be. And it's like, I think that, now being a month and a half or 2 months later, it's just like, it was all that worrying was for nothing. Like dealing with all this hate was, I try to look at hate differently now. I think of it as more funny now.
Well, it's a good thing too, like, especially when you're, for a podcast, I'll use that for example, or an artist project or whatever, like you have a product, right? You're trying to get people to listen to and enjoy. And it's like, you can't the faster that you learn that not everyone's going to like you, the faster you can actually go out and find the people that do. My
biggest tip or form of advice to anyone who watches, the more haters you have, the better. That's how you know you're doing good.
Exactly. And if you look at it in that way, it's like, okay, well, I'm getting a lot of hatred, but look at all these numbers of people freaking absolutely loving me. So let's just focus on the good.
Yeah, no, I unfortunately even still always struggle. I think that
it's hard to shit. You see a comment, like you said earlier, you see a comment, and it's hard to not let it get to you. Yeah,
exactly. It's like being, you kind of have to, put a filter. You have to put a mask on when it comes to social media. You cannot, unfortunately, when you become to a certain level, you have to kind of just act a certain way. You can't sometimes be yourself, I feel like, because sometimes people, I mean, but here's the thing. You like, I'm talking like, you can't say something that will potentially ruin it. And that's just up, that's obviously just being a grown adult, but like, I don't know. You just can't say certain things or do certain things because people will just remember and just bash you for it and just like, fuck.
Do you listen to the Impulsive or the
I've
Full
heard
Send
of
podcast?
that.
The Full Send podcast. They just had Trump on like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it got taken off YouTube.
Really?
Because they were talking about rigged election. So yeah, literally, like, you got to be so careful. And it's like it's almost like it feels like a lot of these platforms are like, in a way, like, that was a blatant, obviously, example, but it feels like a lot of these platforms in a way are like starting to take away for the people who are actually like have a following, have eyes on them, like real eyes on them, like you. That you can get, they have the power to take stuff down. They have the power to ruin your account. They literally like all of those platforms have the power to limit your freedom of speech. And super unfortunate.
It's so easy to slip up to, and it's like, I just don't understand, it's very hard because I feel like, growing up back then, a lot has changed. Some things for the better for sure, but like the EDM Twitter or whatever, it's like a lot has changed, and like people get like, I personally like to stay off that stuff because this is how people seriously mess people up, like, and it's like, I've seen it and I've heard about it. I've gotten bashed before, for simple mistakes, and it's ridiculous, but you just got to keep pushing through, and it's like haters will literally hate, but it's like, it happens and it goes. Part of the
game.
Exactly. And it's like, you just gotta continue. So what's the point?
What suggestions would you have for someone who is listening right now, who might currently be in the position of building their career and facing a lot of the hate along the way? What would you suggest for them to like how mentally overcome that? What things have you worked on within yourself to be able to mentally overcome all that stuff?
I think that days where I feel most sad, I tend to write music. I think that if you sit there and just write a song when you're pissed, you will make a song that you will not forget. And when it comes to haters, my biggest tip is to reply with "thanks for the engagement, winky face." I promise you. Because here's the thing. Not only because you want what a hater is, what's in their mind is they want the spotlight. That's what they want. And you gave them a spotlight, but in the wrong way, and it makes them feel stupid. And it's like, you just got to continue. You just or this, don't even read your comments. That's a lot of things people do. I try to always get to, comments, because sometimes it obviously gets crazy, but I always see the haters comments always stick out the page. And it's like, what's the point if you don't want to? It's you obviously want to get back to your fans and everything, but when it comes to hate, just either ignore it, just delete it.
Well, it's giving them, like you said, it's giving them like a spotlight, and it's
exactly
like, why even give them a spotlight if they're
exactly
no.
And another thing is like, just be yourself. I promise you. Like, I look at some of every time my manager actually said something to me that really like stuck with me the other day when we were in Denver, and he said that you are so antisocial and anxiety feel. Maybe not like that harsh, but like, he didn't mean it in a harsh way. No, I know, like, he's never meant to. Like, it was like, I obviously act a certain way when we're alone. I'm always kind of just like, self-doubt, a jerk to myself. But when I'm playing, I'm a fucking douchebag. Like, I'm like waving my arms away, and like my videos, I'm very expressive with my hand movements, and people especially notice the facial features.
Yeah.
And that's something that just really stuck with me. And I think it's like,
what I'm trying also out over time, that gets a part of like, you build that into your brand, and people
exactly
love you for that. So yeah.
Exactly. And that's something that I think I'm really trying to get at, is to just be yourself, because people don't want to see a robot on stage. They want to see someone who can act a certain way. And it's like, I'm not saying like, oh, throw your hands up, do a whole talk show while DJing. No, but like, just to be yourself, and just, show people that you are a human. And that is definitely my tip to you guys for that area.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, man. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but thank you so much for being on the pod today. Before we wrap up, is there anything we didn't touch on that you like to get out there?
Now I just honestly, would like to take a chance to just thank everyone. Honestly, thank you for putting me on this. Thank, of course, the fans, the family, girlfriend, manager, and yeah, man, I seriously thank you.
A lot to be thankful for. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
I appreciate that. What do you got planned coming up for this year? You got any festival big shows coming up?
So we are hoping for big things. I don't want to say, I want to try to keep things contained. We are obviously working so hard to get this tour, filled up, lined up. We are trying to go all over the country. North Coast is one that is definitely being very sought after so far. I have, of course, high hopes for Lost Lands. There is no word on that. I have no idea yet.
I hope.
I hope too, man. Like,
I will be there, so I hope so.
I'm gonna go either way for sure.
Yeah.
But I definitely have high hopes, and I just pray to the God above. So yeah, that is all for right now. We are trying always to level up, and actually I have one more thing. We are going to take a complete just revamp on the brand. Not changing too much, just making it shit ton better.
Sweet.
So
awesome. Looking forward to seeing all that. How can listeners support you? Where can they find you if they don't already?
So you can find me pretty much on every social, SoundCloud, Spotify, all that fun stuff under Emorfik. And
awesome. That'll all be linked. Fun final question. If there was one piece of advice that you could tell yourself when you first started making and performing music, what would it be and why? Going all the way back when you were 14, what would be like the one key takeaway that if you could go back and tell yourself at 14, what would it be?
I would tell myself to not focus on DJing and focus on music. Music is something that that's what defines you and separates you from the herd. And I feel like, let's say if I I feel like making a song is so much I think that a lot of people look past it. And it's like, oh, it's just a song. But it's like every time you make a song, you're making your brand bigger. Like, oh, I'm going to incorporate this every time. And it's like, your music is what's going to shape your brand, which is going to shape your presence, your stage presence, and it's going to bring you bookings, all this stuff. So focus on music.
Yeah.
Focus on music.
Awesome. Thank you so much, man.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.